All right, so good evening again, everybody. My name's AJ. I am going to be one of your moderators for this evening. Um, I am a student ambassador here with Jackson University's Department of Admissions. I am currently a senior graduate in this semester with an aviation management, and flight operations, and another minor in naval science. I'm involved in campus and a couple of things, including the student ambassador program, one of the presidential ambassadors for events and engagement for this program. And then we also have Sarah, one of our counselors over here. She's going to be able to answer any questions on the chat, as well as some Greek life questions that you guys might have. So kicking off this panel, obviously this is a student live panel. We're gonna have a couple of panelists over here. They're gonna introduce themselves here shortly. They're gonna kind of talk about their experiences around campus. We're gonna be starting out with a PowerPoint presentation of the here in the first slide. If you guys see it, or here we go. So we have over right now like around 80 organizations or so around campus. Here are kind of like a little snapshot of like kind of the most popular ones that we have on campus. You can see that in the top five, you have Dolphin Productions, Outing Club, Black Student Union, Student Government Association or SGA, International Student Association, and a couple other more. And then on the right-hand side, you can see our Greek organizations, some of the fine arts and exhibitions that we do, and then some intramural sports that we have on campus. Myself, I am part of the Outing Club and a couple of intramural sports for club soccer and another one. So everybody here is super, super involved. And then if we go towards the next page, like I said, this is just kind of like a little snapshot. This is released by our Office of Engagement every kind of week. So it shows you what everything that's going on around campus and outside of campus as well. So anything, for example, for Tuesday right now, I'm actually going to be going to Campus Connections, a little dinner that we have with a couple of family members over here. Really cool, get together, get to know more people. And then, for example, we also have on Friday, 1 p.m. cyber competition practices. If you guys are like kind of into that stuff, so you guys can kind of look at this calendar every week and see what stuff is available for you guys to kind of get out, experience a lot of stuff. So if you kind of your first semester here, don't know what to do, this is a great tool to look at and kind of see all the events and organizations and what they're doing every week. And then this is a great website called Echo. So what that calendar showed is basically a snapshot weekly of all the events and organizations that we have on campus. This website, Echo, has all the different organizations we have on campus, all the different events and all their dates, and basically gives you all the information you need to get involved around campus. So besides Echo, we also have our regular fairs that we do around campus at the beginning of the semester. So those are open for everybody to come in, kind of look at all the stuff that we have to offer, and then see if they want to join anything or if they want to get a little bit further involved around campus, which it is my recommendation, going into college, different environment, you don't know a lot of people. So it's important for you guys to get out of your dorms, go to these organizations, get to know more people, and get to be involved in a lot of different organizations, which is going to help you out in your future. Obviously making good connections, also making good friends, and then, makes you a well-rounded individual once you graduate college, right? So we're going to be going now into our student introduction. So we're going to have Jonah over here. I'm going to leave it up to Jonah. He's going to introduce himself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jonah. I am a junior marine science major with double minors in naval science and physics. I'm from Jacksonville, so Jacksonville is my hometown. I'll be graduating next year. I'm involved in NROTC. I'm on the sailing team. Society of Physics Students and the Surfing Club are both organizations that I started. And Row is the Marine Science Honor Society. Yeah, if we go to the next slide, we could see some of the stuff. There we go. Yeah, so this kind of top left and middle upper pictures are from the sailing team. From our ROTC, last summer they sent me to San Diego for a month to kind of train. So the bottom left picture is me and some of my buddies at the beach there. We drew the little JU logo in the sand. I'm a pretty avid surfer, so there's a good picture of me surfing there. Another ROTC picture up at the top right. And then bottom right is a picture of me at a Jacksonville Jaguars game. I'm a pretty big fan. So sometimes I'll dress up in that costume and go to games. So I'm really into all the spirit of it.
Hi, my name is Brashay. I am a junior psychology major. So to be a music minor. I'm actually a sociology minor. I'm actually going to double major in it. I'm from Chicago, Illinois, and I will be graduating next year, next spring. So this time next year. And then some of my involvement is residential assistant. I'm an RA over in our North Hall building on campus. I just recently was replaced for vice president, but I am the former vice president of the Honor Student Association, the social media coordinator for the Black Student Union. I'm a peer mentor. I do Summer Splash, and I was in our River Tones, which is a jazz ensemble here on campus. Alrighty, so here's just some pictures of like different things that I'm involved in. Those are the top left are me and some of my friends. We went to a volleyball game to support some of our friends. And beneath that, that is our picture for, this is on the left side, picture for BSU. That's actually one of our yearbook pictures. And then on the bottom, we have me and one of my friends slash coworkers over here in residential life. I've known her for all 4 years. And then on the right side, the staff bonding for the residential life, for like RAs and things like that. Oh, sorry. And then the picture on the right, that's the picture of me at the BSU's gala. We try to do that every year. We have one coming up this Saturday. And then beneath that, we have a picture of kind of more staff bonding, just some events that residential life we throw on campus. And that's one of our field day events.
My name is Zach Early. I'm a freshman finance and sports business major from Williamsburg, Ohio, which is just outside of Cincinnati. I'm involved on the men's cross country team. I'm a student ambassador. And I'm in the Zimmerman Scholar Program, which is a leader program in the business school, as well as a peer advisor in the business school. And I'm part of the Dean's Fellows program in the business school as well. And then I'm involved in the University Scholars Program. A few of these pictures starting in the top left corner. That's me running in our last track meet the other day. And then me with the admissions team going over to the right. That's the next picture is at Pink Ribbon Jacks, which is an organization here in Jacksonville. And that was our event in October. That's a picture of me and my team. And then drop down to the bottom right corner. That was actually a day where President Koss came and spoke to the Zimmerman Scholar Program. And I was fortunate enough to be able to give a little presentation in front of him that day as well. And then another picture of me and my team. And then that was after a race too.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kylie Gurnick. I'm a sophomore mathematics major, and I'll soon be picking up a couple minors in data science, psychology, and potentially physics. I'm a local from Jacksonville, Florida, and I'll be graduating not this coming spring, but the next spring. A couple of things that I'm involved in is I'm also in our scholars program. I work as a peer tutor with our academic support center. I'm also involved in our math society, our outing club, our physics society, and I do a lot of the intramurals here on campus. For my pictures, the top left corner at Halloween Horror Nights is actually something that I attended with Dolphin Productions, which is one of our clubs here on campus people can get involved in. So we actually got to go there with like a free ride from JU and discounted tickets, which was a lot of fun. It was my first time going. Next to it is to the right is a photo of a couple of girls from admissions. That was one of my first few weeks working here. So it was really fun getting to bond with everybody. The picture next to it on the right is from Charter Day, which will be coming up soon, something that we celebrate here at JU for Jacksonville University's birthday. And that was me volunteering with the American Red Cross. On the bottom right corner in the pink shirts is me and one of our other staff members and friend doing ultimate frisbee. That's one of the intramurals I got involved in. I also have done flag football before. Right now I'm playing pickleball. I've done beach volleyball a couple times. Not very good at them, but they're a lot of fun to get involved in. To the left of that is going to be us playing rock, paper, scissors with also the student ambassador team. I was actually, I think, competing with our moderator at the time in there. And then in the far left corner is a friend of mine that I went to high school with. We both came here together, as well as one of our professors who's an alumni here. So he was kind of like a good push for me.
All right. Well, thank you to all of our panelists who introduced themselves. So obviously, you guys can see we have pretty cool people here that are very involved around campus. So we're gonna roll over now into the kind of the regular panel. This also reminds me, for all the people that are here attending, please feel free to drop any type of questions in the Q&A. Because we also have like kind of like a regular questions that we ask for our panelists. But if you guys want to know anything extra, please let us know. Drop that in the Q&A, and we'll get to it as soon as we finish these questions. All right. So rolling into the regular questions, we'll kind of leave these open-ended. So tell us a little bit about how did you discover JU and why did you choose to come to JU?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and answer this one. I originally discovered JU when the coach reached out about taking a visit. So a pretty basic reason to visit a college. But really what stood out, as soon as I stepped foot on campus, my mom says that's the moment she knew where I was going to end up at school. It was just my face when I stepped out of the car. But I really loved all the people that I met on campus, as well as this is a gorgeous campus for anyone who has visited or seen the campus. And so those two things were definitely huge factors. But then even after I left, I kept comparing all of my other visits to the campus here at JU and the experience that I had while I was visiting with the people, the faculty, the staff, and the students. And it really made it a pretty easy decision when the time came to choose a college.
I can go. So like you saw in one of the other photos, I actually had a professor at my high school that graduated here for marine science and also in the master's program. He's the main reason I came here, but it was definitely like a big push to begin with, just because like I'm from Jacksonville. So I don't know if Jonah could feel any similar with this, but I was definitely like when applying for colleges, not trying to stay at home like most students would want to do, like they'd all kind of want to travel away. So JU is actually one of the last places that I had applied for. I ended up applying here because it was something that my brother had looked at a year beforehand, and they had offered, the ability to go on a campus tour, which if you haven't, I highly recommend. After going on the tour is when I kind of fell in love with the campus and the environment. That was presented in front of me. Everybody was super nice. There was a lot more to the campus and everything than I thought there was. And I had found out that when my professors graduated here, he really hyped up the college, hyped up the program, of course, to me. And then, of course, with like my other friend that came here, also runs cross country. It was just kind of given that coming from like a smaller high school atmosphere, and then also like having the ability to be able to go home on weekends and everything was just like an opportunity I couldn't take away.
All right. Well, thank you guys for that. So we already heard kind of like about your involvement around campus, right? So can you guys tell us a little bit about how did you get there? So if you went to any like career expo, or not career expo, but like fair expo or anything like that to get involved, or any way you actually just got involved around campus?
I can go. So the way that I started getting involved, the first when I got here, I was pretty shy. I think just like after COVID, it was kind of like awkward. Like I just kind of like had a lot of social anxiety. It was hard to interact. I wasn't really from here. I was born in Jacksonville, but I haven't lived here since I was like 6. So I didn't know anyone here. It just was a strange town. And so coming here was pretty hard in that regard, like trying to get involved, especially I was a commuter my first year. So I didn't like have a roommate or anything. So I had to take the extra step. And so I did actually go to an organization fair. That is something we offer here on campus. And they have a few different clubs and things like that. And that's where I found out about BSU. And so I went to their first meeting, and then which is the Black Student Union. I went to their first meeting, and pretty fun. Like we just like do they might have more informational meetings or seminars or things like that, or they'd have like games. We did like Family Feud and stuff like that. So that's always really fun. And I think the first meeting I did meet a few girls, and we talked, and they aren't like my friends now, but I think that definitely kind of like got the ball rolling, and they told me about some other stuff that's on campus, and that's kind of how I jumped right in.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I can go. So in terms of getting involved on campus, JU just like as a school makes it really, really easy for you to find things to do. Everything is constantly being advertised to you. They're always having some sort of organizational fair. They have things posted on bulletin boards all over the school for events. It is like a very widespread thing for people to do intramurals here, especially. I mean, even if you're a part of a sport already. I mean, I do sailing and I've done intramurals in the past before as well. Um, and there isn't really much conflict. Once you hear about something or you want to do something, you just kind of add it to your schedule. And most of the time, people are pretty accommodating about like times and when to do things. That website that AJ had pulled up earlier, that Echo website, you can always go on there and see what kind of organizations are like hosting meetings or having events and stuff like that. But then even if there's something that doesn't really fall, into a category that you're looking for, it is also very easy to start your own clubs and organizations as well. You just kind of have to, have a president. You have to have a professor that kind of backs you. You have to have a treasurer and then like a couple people interested, and then you pretty much have the full, especially financial support of SGA to kind of fund whatever ideas you want. So there's definitely a lot out there.
All right, sweet. Thank you, Jonah. So with all the stuff that you guys are involved on campus, you guys have any tips or any things that you guys do to kind of balance your school life and then involving around campus, hanging out with your friends and so on?
Yes, I have been very fortunate to kind of get my foot in the door in a lot of things my freshman year. And I did the same thing in high school, but the difference between college and high school is college, you're in like the big leagues now, so everything really does matter. And the way that I stay organized, unlike what I did in high school, I keep a planner, which is where I write all my academic information out because obviously academics the first priority, and which does take up a good bit of time. So I make sure I get all my assignments done, write those all out for the week, and then I use my phone calendar and my computer calendar for different other events I'm involved in. So when I, for example, have to like go to practice and lifting, I use my phone, make sure I have that in the calendar. And then for work, I use my computer calendar for any of the other events, meetings, anything I might have, use the calendar. And so I just recommend writing everything down in some form. That way it's not just all jumbled in your brain.
Yeah, kind of to follow Zach. I mean, I do the same thing. I have a written planner. I do Google Calendar. I actually just started that this semester, and it has been amazing with everything that I'm involved in. So like highly recommend taking the time to set that up. But I would say that not just knowing how to write something down and have that available to you, but also knowing how to prioritize stuff and how to actually do like physical balancing. I think like one thing that gets brought up a lot is like choosing, like maybe you have two things that interfere at the same time. Like maybe it's like your academics and then hanging out with friends. So like it might suck not to hang out with your friends, but knowing that maybe like your academics come first, or maybe if you're on an athletic team, knowing that your practice comes first, your lift, or maybe just trying to figure out how to block off certain times of your day where you can actually focus on each individual thing at once so you don't become overwhelmed, as opposed to maybe saving it all for like 1 hour in the evening and then getting stressed out that way. So I think I agree with Zach that writing everything down is super helpful, but even just knowing how to properly time manage and prioritize is a skill that you will learn, but also I would recommend kind of having some sort of base before you come in.
All right, thank you very much, guys. So kind of for our last kind of prepared question that we have for you guys. So any advice that you kind of want to give future freshmen while picking their college or while getting to their college or while selecting your colleges, anything like that, do you guys want to maybe talk to the students about? Or anything
Um,
that was very helpful for you guys? No, Brishay, go ahead.
okay, I was gonna say that my advice is a little bit more like for when they get to college. So wherever you decide to choose, whether it be JU or somewhere else, something that's gonna be very like different, at least for me, is I felt really lonely when I came to college. And I feel like that's just like change. You just change, like things change and you have to adjust to them. And so like knowing that, oh, I'm gonna feel like this because things are different now. Like I'm not in high school anymore. Everything that you do is voluntary now. You have to do your homework, you have to do all these things, not because you have to, but because you do have to, but because you want to, because this is your future. So definitely, I think prioritize the things that are important to you and the things that are important for your future, and know what to filter out. But more than even all that, I think it's good to get involved. And even if you're not like super social, you don't have to like jump into every single thing ever. I think just even finding one thing that you really like and just diving into that, and then meeting all the people that you can in that, because networking is really big, especially here at a school like JU. It's really easy to network here, which I really love about it. And just kind of like get your face out there to meet new people. They can help you in whatever field you choose or whatever thing that you want to be interested in. But that's a really big thing, to kind of just get involved.
To also kind of go off of Brochet, I gotta say, like on the selecting college aspect, I'd say, you're gonna be spending the next 4 to 5 years of your life in kind of like the same place. So kind of pick something that you really like, that has really good programs that you're interested in, really good opportunities, or at least really good room for expansion within those basically programs that you have that are offered. So visit a lot of colleges, talk to a lot of different professors in the programs that you're interested in, do your research, dive deep into every institution and kind of see what they offer, and if they align with what you're looking for as well. So that's kind of like one of my biggest things that I can recommend future students to kind of look into. You'll never get tired of doing, you learn something different every time you come visit a university and do a tour. So get in contact with people, get in contact with other students, kind of see how the actual real life is. Sometimes they'll kind of make things look a little bit too happy on the tours and stuff like that. So get to know a lot of different people, and learn a little stuff by just asking questions as well. So, and that kind of goes the same for you guys that are here. I only see there's only one more question in here. Please feel free to ask as many questions you guys might like. I know Jonah is going to answer this question live over here. So Jonah, you can take that away.
Yeah, before I do answer that, in terms of like the advice for picking a college, I just also want to add that this is probably your first big decision, like as an adult on your own. So, you know, a lot of people like to pick colleges based on like where their friends are going, or maybe like their parents went there, and so that's where like they've always been destined to go, just because you've been such big fans of their sports your whole life or something like that. But I know it's really easy to fall into those categories, but really go somewhere that is going to help you excel in the outside world, that you're going to get a good degree, that is going to help you get a job in whatever you want, on the outside. So I would say don't make decisions based on other people. Once you feel like it's right, then that's where you should go. And then in terms of the question that I said I was going to answer from the Q&A, Michaela asked, hi, coming from a small high school and planning on going to a smaller school such as JU, does it feel like you're still stuck in high school? I would say absolutely not. JU is a small school. We have a 2,800 undergraduate population, but I don't think that we have a small school feel at all. Sure, I can walk from my apartment to class and probably, can't avoid saying hi to 5 people I know. But that doesn't mean when I show up to basketball games or like lacrosse games that it doesn't feel like a big school. I mean, we have really good name recognition for the amount of students and the size of our campus. And all of the opportunities are there, just like you would have at a big school. So I don't feel like confined at all. I don't feel like I'm in high school. I feel like I have all the freedom in the world. I have the freedom to choose my classes, to choose my schedule, to choose my sports, and to kind of go wherever I want and do whatever I want at any time. So I would say it's definitely completely different from high school.
I kind of want to add to that, if you don't mind, from Jonah. I also, like, I did come from a small high school. I know, so JU class sizes typically don't go over 25 students. And that's exactly how my high school was as well. I had several classes that had either less kids in it or a max of 30. So that was definitely something that I had thought about a lot. I think almost every other college I applied to was a big college because I just wanted something different and I was scared of the high school setting. I can tell you I have not had that experience here, just as Jonah said. It's also super helpful that coming to college, it's a very different environment. People have their own passions, goals, interests. We're all trying to like find ourselves here. So there's never a feeling where you're going to feel like, even like in a classroom, where you're going to feel like you're sitting in a high school class. You're going to be sitting in classes you choose to be in and want to be in, and everyone else wants to be in there too. As well as just even walking in the hallways, like seeing people you know is going to be exciting. They're going to show you new things. So there's always something new to explore in college, and I feel like having the ability to explore options that interest you kind of is what has changed that high school atmosphere that you were used to. But I haven't had any feelings of feeling like I was in high school since I've been here, and I've had almost the same sort of layout coming in.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is helpful. Like, I came from a pretty big high school, and like I've always thought in my mind that would make me want to go to a larger university. But honestly, I don't feel like I don't think I realized it was a smaller university until someone pointed it out. Like, I didn't like really look into the class size and stuff until I was already here. And when I took classes, I was like, oh, this is normal. Like, so I never really feel restricted at all. I never feel like I'm missing out on anything in terms of like big university. It's kind of like the same thing, but just like less overwhelming. So.
All right, sweet. We also had a question that Kylie answered in the chat, but just kind of like it was asking how central JU is in terms of like location in the Jacksonville area. Kylie, you want to answer that live, or I can take it ahead?
Sure. So like I'm from the area too, which is why I feel like I'd be good to answer this. So like when it comes to like shopping and restaurants and finding fun activities, like I wrote, like Jacksonville's a very large city. It's quite big, just like even like land wise. But what's really cool about where we're located, it's in a nice spot. We're really close to the downtown city. You can actually see it from across the river, which is something that's super helpful for your academic career and just future, because there's a lot of internships and job opportunities over there, and that's about a 10-15 minute drive away from campus. We have a couple different outlets and shopping centers nearby, which is probably more of what you're asking, I would assume. Most of those are about 15-20 minute drives away. A lot of restaurants nearby, whether in downtown, in those outlet areas. I think even like going to the beaches, most of our beaches are around 20 minutes away. And even when you're at the beaches, there's a whole nother set of shopping malls, restaurants, anything of that you can think of. So I would say JU's in a pretty central location for anything that you could look up or look up. I feel like most anything that you are searching for, you would find at most a 20-minute drive for.
If I can add on to that as well, I'm also from Jacksonville. Jacksonville, like Kyle said, is massive. It's actually the largest city area wise in the continental United States, so it's like absolutely massive. And because of that, I wouldn't say that there is like one centralized. Like if we could say we're downtown, I wouldn't say we're downtown, but I also wouldn't say that like the hub of all the fun in the city is downtown as well. Like there is a downtown area like in the city, but it's mostly just kind of tall buildings. But there's a lot of little town squares and shopping centers and things to find. Kind of like Kylie mentioned, like the beaches, by 20, 25 minutes away. But then there's like the St. John's Town Center, there's Riverside, there's San Marco. And these are all just kind of like, you would say, like little hubs for shops and restaurants, and fun little things to do. The one that's probably closest to JU that people go to the most is probably St. John's Town Center or Regency, or two of the bigger ones. But yeah, I would say that there is definitely a lot of stuff to do here. Just some of it might be a little bit of a drive. So if you don't have a car, I say find a friend with a car. That's my advice.
All right, sweet. So if you guys don't have any more questions, we'll give it here another minute or two to see if you guys can come up with different questions. But that kind of concludes the session for us. Hopefully you guys learned a couple of things. Oh, we have a question here.
I can answer this.
Yeah, you can
business
take that one,
question.
Zach.
Yeah. So I'll start with every student, when you like pay your tuition price on campus, you take between 12 to 18 credit hours. It's all the same price. And depending on the credit hours you take is completely up to the student. For example, if you took like 12 credit hours a semester, that'd be about 4 classes, and then 18 credit hours would be about 6 classes. So you like a normal high school schedule. I do 18 credit hour classes. I just, like to stay busy, and obviously I'm here for academics, and so I might as well take advantage of it. But the amount of classes a person would take, every student in order to graduate from JU has to do 120 credit hours. So give or take around 40 classes. And most people just take 5 classes a semester. I would say that's probably about average on here on campus across any major, and then especially business. But what's really cool about in the business school, almost everybody, you obviously have your major, but then almost everybody has another minor or another major paired with their um, major already, just because how flexible our classes here are. And you get a very good opportunity to broaden your knowledge across different types of businesses. And you can even do that taking 5 classes a semester. And so I would say that's definitely a good start. And then if you want to bump up to 6 or go down to 4, depending on you as a student, but that's what most people do.
Also going off of that, we also offer summer and winter courses. So we offer winter accelerated courses. So if you want to take easier semesters, specifically maybe your freshman year, your first semester to kind of ease into that adult life and then the college life, you can absolutely do so. And then just take more courses during the summer or during the winter, and then they'll basically keep you on track. Or if you basically want to take every course, or like at least one course every summer or winter, you're gonna, you know, have like barely any credits by the time you get to your senior year. So that's another option you guys might have, that if you're interested in looking at it, you can definitely do so. All right, we have, whoa, purple questions starting to pop off now, huh? So one person asked over here, are individual dorms better than regular dorms? So anybody, oh, Brichet, you can answer that.
Hello. So dorms, it would pretty much depend on the building, but I think it's really up to your liking. I think it's very unique experience you go through when like housing on campus. You can have a double room or a single room, and that's pretty much like the only options. So you can live by yourself, or you can live with a friend, you can go random, or a person you just agree to live with. There's a few different ways that you can go about that, but I think it really depends more so on your interest. If you're a person that finds that you do better living by yourself, then a single room might be what you want to go for. If you want to have the experience of living with a friend or someone that you want to be your friend, then that's also an option. Me personally, I've learned from having roommates that I'm more of a like to live by myself person. But that's just me. Like I think everyone's different.
To answer Michaela's second question about internships, yes, I believe that last year on campus there was more internship opportunities than students that were willing to do an internship at the moment. And so, yes, internships are extremely popular here on campus, and there's always opportunities to do so. Um, I know being a business major, you pretty much will have an internship. That's almost a guarantee um, in your 4 years. And what most students do is they do 2 or 3 internships, and it really depends on your schedule as well as the different companies. And so, if companies offer an internship, I'd highly take it. But it also depends on your schedule when you want to do so.
Sorry. I just wanted to add something. One of the questions from Valerie, Jonah gave you a pretty good answer, but you said especially for music majors. I can give you a little bit of information from like a former music minor. Some of your things will be mandatory. So like certain concerts or music things you have to go to. So for majors, I forget how many you have to go to. I know for like minors, it's 5. For major, it might be double that. So maybe 10-ish or so. Some that might sound a little excessive. I'm gonna say somewhere between 10 and 5. Um, like music, concerts, ensembles, things that you'll have to go to. They'll be different. They'll be throughout the week. They'll have their own special days, and they'll probably be around like 7 p.m. And those will usually be mandatory for you to attend. Or like out of the 25 they do a semester, you have a certain amount to go to. So you don't really have to feel too pressured. Just make sure you go to enough of them to get your grade for it. And then probably like rehearsals. So I'm not sure if you're like vocal or if you're more instrumental, but for vocal, like choral union and things like that, they do have their rehearsals from like pretty late, like 7 to 10 p.m. So that is another thing that's like mandatory because that's only once a week. So depending on the ensemble or like whether you are vocal or instrumental or whatever you kind of group you're in, you will have like some things that you have to go to after hours, I guess.
For the other question that was put on here about how different college life is to high school life and how you adjusted, this is probably something a couple of us could answer. Zach as well, probably because you mentioned the business school. And in terms of like getting involved in other programs as well as your other major, you can definitely mix and match majors and minors. It's something that people definitely do, even if they're like not even in the same school. That's a pretty common thing to do. Like I'm a marine science major. There's a lot of marine science majors that have a photography minor. They're not even in the same school, but it definitely can be done. And then I would say that adjusting from college to high school life, it's definitely different. It is definitely different. I think the biggest thing is just the freedom that you have. You're choosing everything. You're kind of living life on your own, especially like if you're living on campus, if you're not from the area, like all of a sudden you have to start thinking about, when am I going to eat every day? Like in the middle of the day, I have to find time to go, have lunch, or I have to go, stop studying and go to dinner sometime. I have to wake up in time, if I'm hungry, if I eat breakfast in the morning, I have to wake up in time to go, get breakfast. And then I have to fall asleep. I have to go to bed at a time that is reasonable so I can get enough sleep to actually like be awake for my classes the next day. So not only are you kind of planning your schedule around yourself, you also have to start thinking about those like basic human functions by yourself as well, because you're not living at home anymore. But that stuff usually comes pretty quick, I would say. That's probably like the first thing you notice. It's like, oh shoot, I forgot. It's dinner time. I have to go eat. And then like eventually you get into a rhythm and it starts to come naturally again. But that's kind of a shock that a lot of people have at first, I would say.
All right, so for the aviation student here, basically, how do you balance work and then flight training? Basically, coming back to whatever Zach said, is just calendar, 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 writing things down. Whenever you start the semester, you're gonna get a flight block assigned to you as well as your regular classes when you register for your classes. You're gonna give that schedule to the flight dispatch office, and then they're going to schedule you around your classes. So you have 3 flight blocks per week. To kind of summarize it, 3 blocks, 3 hours for each flight block. So you have plenty of time. Just have to balance your actual time, block it off, calendar, calendar, calendar. That's all I can say for you. And then whiteboards in your dorm. I have 2 of them, and they're filled to the brim. So yeah, use those. Use all the tools that you have available to you, and you'll be good to go.
To answer the question about the AP and dual enrollment classes, um, I know for me personally, I did almost entire dual enrollment my junior and senior year of high school, and every single one of those credits transferred, which is going to allow me to graduate a year early from JU um, with my master's degree, as long as everything goes according to plan. But yes, it was a very good opportunity, and all those transferred, which I know could be something that you might worry about. Our registrar takes care of all that, and it probably depends on the college that you do dual enrollment from. I think AP is supposed to transfer to every university in the country, but dual enrollment could get a little iffy. So I would just make sure that you would check with your high school counselor before obviously making those decisions. But then if they help prepare me for JU, I felt extremely prepared, especially after my first like week of classes. You get settled down and everything. You're like, okay, this college stuff isn't too bad. Obviously, some things you will have a lot more work than high school, because in college you do go more in depth into different topics than you ever did in high school, and that does bring work sometimes. But I felt fully prepared, and I think I've been able to show myself that you know college is no bear, as long as you just work hard and maintain a good good study life, that everything will fall into place.
And then somebody here answered or asked, what exactly is an internship? To put it in very simple terms, an internship, you're going to be in a work environment that is very similar to whatever you want to go in. So, for example, I applied for an internship with the Jacksonville Airport Authority. So you're basically kind of like a pretend employee of the company for an extended amount of time. Sometimes it's a paid position, sometimes it's not, but you basically get to learn the roles of hopefully the future job or kind of industry you want to be in. I don't know if anybody wants to add a little bit more to that or if it's kind of a bad explanation. I think it was kind of fair.
I mean, I just think it's a really good way to boost your resume. I feel like is the easiest way to explain it. I mean, it depends on what you're studying too. You could have an internship in a very hands-on field where you'll be doing some actual field work, like in marine science. Maybe you're on a boat and that could count as your internship, working with organisms. Or so like I'm a math major, I'm going to probably do something in like a data science field, which is a lot of like computer programming and doing research that way. So I feel like it's very specialized as to what your program is and what you want to do with your career. That's something that I would definitely recommend talking to an academic advisor about and maybe the different opportunities that would kind of arise with that. But I definitely would just say it's a really good work experience that will help build your resume for your future job careers and will also give you whatever experience it is that you'll need so that you will get hired when you do apply for those jobs. We also had a student ask about food on campus. They said they had come on a tour recently, but they're curious how does it work for a student? You said stacking up and if we'd rather eat off campus. Um, I would recommend, I think, eating on campus, especially during the weekday. There are plenty of options here for anyone that hasn't seen the campus. We have a dining hall that's a buffet style. We have a Chick-fil-A. We have Starbucks. We have a late night dining option over at our residential hallways. We have a Mexican style restaurant and then also smaller kind of bodega style places and shops all around campus in each of the academic buildings. It's very accessible to get food, especially between classes, even if you feel as though you don't have time between, you probably do. As my perspective as a student, I would recommend, or I typically eat on campus, especially during the weekdays, so that I don't have to leave like stressed about leaving campus and getting back in time, or maybe worrying about like my homework assignment or anything. And it's never a problem because of how much is available for me. I'm never eating the same thing more than once in a week, which I think is something that a lot of students would fear coming in, but you won't have to worry about that. There are a lot of really cool places outside in Jacksonville to go eat, a lot of restaurants. We have a Wawa nearby if you ever wanted to run out of Wawa. I know it's really popular for students. It's kind of just more of like how you like doing things, whether you like eating on or off campus. I think it's very individual. If
We
everyone
also
wants
have food trucks around campus as well that you can use your own flex dollars that are included in your meal plan.
Yep. Sorry. One of the questions on here talked about, I'm so sorry, it just like disappeared out of the blue. It talked about like accelerated programs and stuff like that. And if we had any, and I'm gonna assume when you say accelerated programs, you mean like honor scholars, honor societies, things like that, hopefully. So we do have our university honors and scholars program in addition to various like honor societies, some depending on the college that you are in. We do have another which is the national it's a yes, I'm not even gonna butcher the whole thing right now. I'm not even gonna mess it up. But that one, we do have a few different ones. So they kind of depend on, a lot of them will send you invitations or they will depend on the college that you're in. For our university honors and scholars, you usually, at least how I remember when I got into JU, they'll send it kind of like not too far from your acceptance. They are doing things a little bit differently now, so you can contact and join after you kind of start. They have different requirements for that, and I'm gonna try to answer the question, that one and the university scholar program, like all in one go. So some requirements for those would be more so like I'd have to do like 10 credit hours of service learning, which are provided to you. Like you have a certain place that you'll go to do them. We went to the North Florida School of Special Education. It's not too far from here, so it wasn't really far to like get to. At the time, I I drove. I remember the first time I think someone else drove me, but carpooling is a thing, and we would all go there, and that was like more so for freshmen, and that's for the honors, not scholars. And then Kylie, I'm not sure if you're scholars or I don't know. I know someone is. Okay, you can talk more about that in a minute. I got it, but I know it's a little different from honors. But I know that for that, and then you have to do about 27 credit hours of honors courses. So just like you'll have your regular classes, you'll have like honors classes, and there'll be more like honors classes maybe as you are a freshman, sophomore. As you get a little bit higher up, you can honorize other courses that are not originally honors, or they'll offer the same course, but if you are an honor student, you can get the specialization for yours to be honors, and it counts towards your credits. There are a few other things like research credits and just things like that, but they're not really anything more than what you do. Typically, they do give you a little bit more opportunity to actually do them. Like it's always an option to most students, but since it is a requirement for these students, they do for sure reap the benefits of those things. Yes, and I'm gonna let Kai take the rest over maybe if you want to.
Sure. I think Zach's also in the scholars program. He may have a little bit more just because he's a freshman, so the program changed ever so slightly. However, the scholars, you do not need to honorize credits. That's one thing that's kind of, I feel like, is the biggest difference. So you don't have to worry about, you'll be taking kind of like those same regular classes. However, there are a lot of benefits. Of course, scholarship is always involved. My freshman year, or everyone's freshman year, you're required to take a JU 189 course, which is like our freshman seminar. As a scholar student, you won't have to do that as well as honors. You take a colloquium class, and in that class, it's just kind of a way to help you kind of develop your professional self. So we did a lot of guest speakers. I had a lot of talks with the provost of the university. We talked with President Cost. Actually, part of the reason we have honors and scholars living is because that was something that we had voiced to him during our presentation, which is really cool. Kind of shows how he listens to his students. But yeah, so we did a lot of guest speakers. We did our own presentation on anything that you wanted. Had to be, I think, like 15 minutes. A really basic exercise, but just kind of helped you practice talking in front of a lot of people, maybe utilizing an auditorium, using visualization skills, anything basic like that. The next semester, I also had to do a community service class. So once again, a lot of guest speakers coming in, which may sound a little dreadful, but it was actually super helpful because they gave you a lot of tips and tricks that you can use later on, either in college or in your future career. And then I also similarly had to do a certain number of hours, log them. I did a lot with the North Florida School of Special Education, which I absolutely loved. It also encouraged you to go out during like charter day and do community service. So I would probably look a little bit more into the program just because I'll be going into my third year. So it could be a little bit different now. However, my big thing is just it will help you a lot develop professionally for sure.
I'm gonna kind of knock out two questions here on the same blow. So basically, you can graduate in 3 years. Zach is going to be doing that as well, with his master's too. So that's pretty impressive. But basically, if you get your associate's degree or anything like that before coming here, that allows you to have a certain amount of credits that allows you to move quicker through your bachelor's degree. So you're allowed to basically graduate in 3 years, but you can also, at the same time, you can graduate quicker if you don't have your associates or anything like that by taking winter and summer courses. So if you take those, you're going to move quicker through all the programs, and you're going to end up graduating a year early. So that's up to you guys, however you want to manage your time and kind of work those things out. And then we also have another question here. Is it easy to find jobs on campus, different kinds of work on campus? So anybody want to answer that as all student ambassadors in here? Jonah?
Yeah, it's super easy to find jobs on campus. All of us work in the admissions office as student ambassadors, but there is a variety of different jobs that you can get on campus. You can work in the recreation and wellness department. You can work in any of our dining industries. The pool is under construction right now, but when it's open, you can be a lifeguard there. A big one for a lot of our students is becoming a tutor. If you didn't know, tutoring services are completely free for all of our students. But they are paid by the school. It's a paid job. So all you need is a B or above in the class that you want to tutor in and a letter of recommendation from a couple of professors. And then you pretty much have a job as a tutor. And they do satellite tutoring now too. So you don't even really have to leave your dorm most of the time. So yeah, there's a good amount of jobs.
All right, sweet. Well, Unfortunately, we're running out of time over here, so I'm gonna try this time to wrap up everything. So thank you all for asking all those wonderful questions. And if you guys come up with any new questions, please feel free to contact our admissions office. Any of our counselors are gonna be more than happy to answer any of those questions and get back to you as soon as possible. But for now, thank you all for the panelists for attending. We appreciate all your feedback. Thank you, Sarah, for answering some of those questions. And then, have a great night, guys. Thank you for coming.